Welcome to the Front 7 podcast. I am your host, Money Mike, and, well, we got some big news to talk about. The New York Giants have decided to end the Eli Manning era, and unlike the Colts, who respectfully allowed Peyton Manning to leave in a classy way, the Giants have, on so many levels here, did Eli Manning so wrong on this benching. It's amazing that at this point, Ben McAdoo is using this, or should say using Eli as a scapegoat for his poor coaching job in New York. And, to see how far the Giants have regressed under Ben McAdoo in 2 seasons is very incredible. If you ever hear the media talk about how important coaching is in the NFL, please take a look at the Los Angeles Rams without Jeff Fisher. All of a sudden, the Los Angeles Rams, they bring in Sean McVay, they bring in Wade Phillips as a defensive coordinator. All of a sudden, you don't even know who this team is. That the team of the Rams that we are seeing that is leading the NFC West is so far ahead of the Jeff Fisher Rams we've come to know, that it's amazing how much Jeff Fisher was holding the team back. When you look at the Jaguars, and I want to talk about the Jaguars here pretty intensely here during this episode here. The Jaguars for years have struggled. They've always been picking up towards the top 3, top 5, basically a deadlock for a top 10 pick at the end of each year. They might get a few wins, but they'll still be in the top 10. And they've gone through coaches, and now they've brought back Tom Coughlin to run things in the front office. First year, he was let go out of the Giants. He sat out last year. He came in this year in the off season. A reunion in Jacksonville for Tom Coughlin, who was the Jaguars' first head coach when the Jaguars came into the NFL. And within 1 year, Tom Coughlin has the Jaguars playing so well. They're leading the AFC, they were leading the AFC South until the Cardinals upset them on Sunday, which is ironic because Blaine Gabbert, the former Jaguars quarterback, beat the Jaguars on Sunday, leading to the upset in Arizona. But firmly, though, they are still in playoff contention, and in just 1 year time, we're already seeing the difference that Tom Coughlin is making. Doug Marrone is the head coach, and it's ironic because what Jacksonville is doing is making a mockery out of the New York teams. If you guys remember, Doug Marrone was the head coach in Buffalo. Marrone had them on the verge of the playoffs until they decided to bring in Rex Ryan for some reason and blow the entire thing up. So now they have Sean McDermott there in Buffalo, and now you see in Jacksonville, Doug Marrone and Tom Coughlin have the Jaguars in playoff contention. Coaching matters in the NFL, and the Giants is a big example of what will happen when you don't have the proper coaching. The Jaguars, they finally have the proper coaching after all these years. When the Browns, they're still struggling. They're cleaning house again. I don't know how many times they can keep cleaning house, but they just never seem to find the right coaching, which has killed the Browns for, almost 20 years here. But Jacksonville finally got it right. The Giants, meanwhile, screwed up 100% by bringing in Ben McAdoo. McAdoo was the quarterback coach in Green Bay before getting the head coaching job in New York. So it's obvious Aaron Rodgers made Ben McAdoo look better than he actually was. So now it is very likely the Giants will be cleaning house, and this will probably be the start of hitting that reset button in New York for 2018. They were in the playoffs last year, and this year it just seems like everything just fell apart. And now Jerry Reese, their general manager, his job is on the line. If you go back on my channel here, I'll leave a link in the description. I talked about it a couple years ago when the Giants let go of Tom Coughlin Jerry Reese was out of excuses. Tom Coughlin could make whatever make it work with who Jerry Reese brought in free agency. The first year without Tom Coughlin, we saw how they went out and did that big old spending spree. And, again, go check out that video I did a couple years ago talking about how Jerry Reese had to do the big spending spree to save his job because Tom Coughlin was no longer the scapegoat that was saving his job. Now Jerry Reese does not have a scapegoat. Ben McAdoo is now using Eli Manning as a scapegoat for his terrible coaching job. And just the way that this whole thing has happened, very disrespectful. I saw some posts that some fans were saying online, saying that, well, when Tom Coughlin left, the class that the Giants organization had left with Tom Coughlin. And I think I would tend to agree on that, because Eli deserves so much better. Whether Giants fans were a fan of him or not, but you gotta remember all those years where people would get on him. They would get on Tom Coughlin. And it would be like, okay, is this going to be the year that Coughlin gets fired? Are they going to move on from Eli? Eli is terrible, yada, yada, yada. And then they go out and win 2 Super Bowls together. Eli is Super Bowl MVP of both of them. And let alone they beat the Patriots both times. The first one was Super Bowl 42, the infamous 18-1 season, when Eli and the Giants spoiled the Patriots' perfect season. And then 2011, they did the same thing, and once again beat the Giants in the house that Peyton Manning built there in Indianapolis. So, I want to just kind of read some quotes here from Ben McAdoo here on the benching of Eli Manning, because it is very interesting to me. I have a lot of confidence in Eli as a player, as a quarterback. McAdoo said, "At this point, it's my responsibility for the organization to make sure we take a look at Geno and at Davis." Speaking of Davis Webb, do kind of agree with that settlement there, because the Giants, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're heading towards a top 3 pick in next year's draft, and more so, they've definitely got to see what they have in at least Davis Webb, because they're going to be drafting high. Does Cleveland go for a quarterback? If so, they'll obviously will take Josh Rosen, but then after that, who does that leave for the Giants? We don't know if Sam Darnold's going to come out. Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, quarterback from Oklahoma, may be a possibility there. But either way, you still got to look and see, okay, we drafted Davis Webb. We got to see if there's some potential there to see if he can be the guy. Maybe he is, maybe not. But you got to at least see if there's something there. But instead, the Giants have, for some reason, they play in the same stadium, but I'm guessing the Giants never saw Geno Smith play for the Jets, because the Giants have actually benched Eli for Geno Smith, which fans in that stadium have seen Geno Smith play. And to say that Geno Smith gives you the best chance of winning is insane. I don't even want to use the word tanking. They were already losing games with Eli Manning as a starting quarterback. So, I guess starting Geno Smith is officially tanking, even though the Browns have already kind of got you beat on the whole tanking the season thing. And if you guys have not yet seen it, you gotta watch Eli Manning's interviews following this announcement. It's heartbreaking to watch, to see the disrespect shown by the Giants organization here by Ben McAdoo. It's really, really sad to see how quickly the Giants have declined under Ben McAdoo and Jerry Reese. Tom Coughlin was the only reason Jerry Reese had a job. Eli Manning made Jerry Reese look better because of winning 2 Super Bowls and being the Super Bowl MVP. And another thing, if you guys have not checked out Mike Francesca's rant on the Giants benching Eli Manning, please do so. After you listen to this, go listen to that. It is incredible and 100% truth about this entire situation. It's going to be very interesting here because I think, to me, the Giants now, they're in full rebuild. And I think they could have a off-season similar to the Colts when the Colts were moving on from Peyton Manning and starting over with Andrew Luck in 2012. And that this is going to be that reset for the Giants here and getting rid of Eli and starting over, whether it's Josh Rosen, whether Sam Darnold, whoever the quarterback may be. But it's clear that they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. At the same time, though, when you look at the situation in the draft, when it comes to the draft, you have teams like Denver that are sitting behind you, and let's say, for some reason, or let's just say Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't win games for the 49ers. The 49ers still lose, and the 49ers are picking second. The Giants are picking third. Alright, so you got the Broncos. Now, looking at the current draft order here, okay, I'm pulling up the current draft order because I've been working on like a mock draft, so to speak. But the current draft order has the Denver Broncos sitting at 4, one spot behind the Giants, who would have the 3rd overall pick if the draft was happening tomorrow night. And we don't know if the Browns are going to take a quarterback. It's likely they are, but they were pretty cozy with A.J. McCarron in pregame before the Bengals game on Sunday. So maybe the Browns will throw in a mix and they'll sign A.J. McCarron, trade out of it to a team like Denver, maybe the Jets, who want to come up and jump the Giants for Josh Rosen or for whatever quarterback that may be on the board at that time, especially if the 49ers are picking 2nd overall. I think the 49ers would be a good trade spot for somebody to leap the Giants. So I think, it's going to take a while before, we got to get the rest of the season first before we finalize the final draft order. But there's so much potential here for the Giants in terms of, okay, what quarterback could they take? What teams will jump them for a quarterback? So many questions right now after Eli's benching here. And I think the last question here is going to be, where will Eli Manning play in 2018? And, and to me, honestly, everybody's going to say it. Everybody's going to say it until it happens. And everybody said, oh, the Jaguars should trade for Eli Manning at the trade deadline. You know what? Maybe they should have. Maybe so. But considering Eli Manning's salary for next year, he'll probably be released. And much like Peyton, he'll have his chance to kind of go on a free agent tour and see what team is fit for him and best for him to continue his playing career in 2018. And honestly, I think a lot of people will say Jacksonville right off the bat. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think right now, when I look at the Jaguars, they could easily bring in Eli Manning, move on from Blake Bortles. Eli would then be in a situation that currently, when you look at the Jaguars, kind of reminiscent of the Tom Coughlin Giants that won the Super Bowls, that won the 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots. And yeah, the Jaguars still have some holes to fill, and they got to fix that offensive line. But if the Giants or if the Jaguars can get a hold of Eli Manning, then I think that will make them, with that defense, instant Super Bowl contenders. And it's also interesting too, the AFC South plays the AFC East next year, meaning we're guaranteed to see Jacksonville against New England, which could turn into Eli Manning versus Tom Brady in a preview of the 2018 AFC Championship game. honestly, it's so wrong on so many levels here of how the Giants have disrespected Eli after all for what he's done, after all of what he's done for them, and after everything that he took. You know, how many... I mean, listen, Giants fans, you can probably tell me in the comments, but how many times have you guys said, Eli's terrible, get rid of Eli, get rid of him? But yet, he's been able to make you guys consistent winners year in, year out, and I think he earned your guys' respect on that level. Because I see a lot of the fan backlash, too, is they're not happy about this either. And they feel that they have disrespected Eli Manning just as much as everybody else is saying the same thing. Speaking of Tom Coughlin, and I'll leave it at this here. Everybody probably wants to know what Tom Coughlin thinks, right? When asked about this during a charity event, Tom Coughlin had this to say about Eli's benching. Surprise is not the word, Coughlin said. My sentiments are totally with Eli Manning. I love the kid. He's a class act. He is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He is the finest, most humblest young man in that locker room. I haven't followed the Giants. I know it's a disappointing year, but my thoughts are strictly with Eli. I'm very upset about it when I heard that. So I think in that regard, I think it's really safe to say that I think a reunion in Jacksonville between Eli Manning and Tom Coughlin is definitely on the horizon come free agency 2018. As for Eli Manning and the Giants, I would say this on my final note. It is very disrespectful of the way that they treated Eli Manning in this situation. He deserved better. He deserved to end his Giants career his way. Eli Manning talked about how he always wanted to retire a Giant, and you have to wonder if that's a possibility. If Eli will say, hey, you know what? Maybe just retire so he can retire a Giant. Or does this lead Eli to go out there and prove that this organization has become so dysfunctional that he is the scapegoat for terrible coaching and terrible front office management by Jerry Reese? And go out there, go rewrite Tom Coughlin and show he still had a lot to give to the Giants, but they were poorly mismanaged. And so we'll see what's going to happen there. I've been your host, Money Mike. Hopefully I will be back with some more videos. Since I only do this as a hobby, I only post videos when I can. So hopefully as the season gets closer to the playoffs, I will have some more videos up of the Front 7 podcast. So leave a comment below. What do you think of the entire situation with the Giants and Eli Manning? And do you guys think a reunion in Jacksonville is on the horizon for Eli Manning and Tom Coughlin? This has been the Front 7 podcast.